Now, you know that Ms. Heard was...
Excuse me. I
I'm
didn't
sorry?
hear the beginning of what you started saying.
I said, let's start with the makeup.
Okay.
Okay. Are you familiar with Amica cream?
What is it?
Amica?
Amica?
Yes.
No.
Okay. And you don't know whether she had applied Amica cream, correct?
No.
And
I didn't even know what Amica cream is.
Do you know whether she had applied any Amica cream that morning to her face?
No.
In any of those 3.5
When?
years, do you know whether Amber had any Amica cream on that day?
No.
Do you know whether she was wearing any Amica cream?
Sir, if you could just answer
I'm
the
sorry.
question.
I'm totally sorry.
Thank you, sir.
That, no.
Have you communicated with a social media user who goes by the name That Umbrella Guy?
I've had several phone calls with the person who goes by the name That Umbrella Guy. I don't actually know his real name.
Have you communicated with him other than through phone calls?
I don't remember doing so, no.
Hey there, it is That Umbrella. No, it's Tiny Tug on the helm today. That's right. How's it going, folks? I thought I would do a impromptu little stream here talking about some fun times, because as the littler observer in the Umbrella family, you can see me on the desk right there. I get to see all the happenstance, and it is crazy too. That's right. How's everybody doing today? Yeah, there's also there's something that later today on the main channel we will go over. That will be a discussion about a lot of people don't realize that the reaction that you see from judges toward Elaine, that's not a new reaction. They all act like that toward her. They're not the biggest fans in the world of Elaine. She is definitely not. She is not a beloved member of any court community, for sure. For sure. So I think we'll go over a document for that today. By the way, just a note, this is not a monetized channel, therefore there will not be super chats in it. But if you would like to donate to it, there is a PayPal link that is in the description. It is the one way to make all this stuff work. So check that button out, and thank you for that. Like I said, that definitely, like I say, this is just a channel to come on, talk about some stuff. Although it is apparently ready for its review to monetization, so we'll see how that works out. But yeah, I was wondering, like, when people have been watching this, do you feel like the other side is getting very desperate, as in Herd's side? Do you feel like they're getting really, really desperate? Because you know what? You can see it in the reactions that they're giving to try to take things down. Here, for example, this was talked about a little bit yesterday, but I want to show you the the effort again, the need for these people to try to take aim, because again, they didn't care either about all of this conversation. They didn't care about the about anything that was happening until attention. And then after attention, oh my goodness, what a terrible, terrible person. What a monster, right? Because talking about the same subject we've been talking about for a while. The difference here, of course, is when we've been talking about all of this, the difference is that now there are people paying attention to what's being said on YouTube. And of course, just like they have to deflect away from Twitter, they have to deflect away from Instagram, they have to deflect away from all of this. They have to deflect this as well. So they go with the same buzzwords they always do. They call you some kind of they call you alt right. They call you white national. I mean, they call you the weirdest things in the world. And it's insane. What's funny though is these people, they have gotten so butthurt over the fact that like this is my thumbnail spread. I keep thinking, that's a pretty awesome poster, by the way. I think that'll turn into a very awesome poster. But Twitter, what's sad to me is that there are still holdouts for Amber Heard. There are still a few thousand people out there simply because Amber Heard's female. Like if we were to flip the script here and we were to talk about a man having what happened to Johnny Depp, if we're talking about him doing that or even alleging that, if somebody had a mark on their face and they said, "Oh man, he used me as a human ashtray," do you think we'd be having the same discussion here? Absolutely not. We absolutely wouldn't. But this holdout, these people, of course, it doesn't matter to them because it's classic. It's classic sexism is what it is. It's classic sexism, and what's really fascinating about it to me is that it's the same thing that we've seen over and over and over again. Take them on, Tiny Tug. Exactly. Exactly. The false flagging campaign has gotten extraordinarily big, though. Like what this is doing, what these people are doing is they're calling for false flagging. And there are hundreds of people that are trying to flag right now. Luckily, that is something. Where's the sound? The sound is working for sure. You can see it around my my avatar. It's very easily heard. Yeah, it's absurdity though. It's like I said, there's you could see some of the false flagging just shared off of this. And this is what's going on in the public eye. The false flagging behind the scenes is absolutely insane. Like the level of it is crazy. You can see like right here, for example, reported for cyberbullying. Oh my goodness, reported for. Did they get me again? No, they haven't. They haven't. I'm just coming over here to talk. I come over this channel. This channel also, because of the last live stream we did here, is almost ready for monetization. So it goes through an approval process, but it may actually be an approved channel too. Give me a drink. What's up, Tip Tail? Looking in the audience there. Like I took having to do accidental journalism while the real journalists go for smear campaigns. Yeah, that's the thing. The difference between the so-called real journalists and people like us is we don't have an entire machine built on destroying other people. Like when a person like this goes to false flag, I don't start screaming about how they're alt-right and right wing and trying to dig into their entire life and ruin them. But that's the machine that is the press. The mainstream press. They have no lines, they have no boundaries, and they encourage this kind of behavior. They absolutely do. They always have. But no, I am not. I've not been taken down or anything like that. Just to say, I'm just live streaming here. I got to grab something real fast. It'll sound like I get distance for just a second. I got to grab a charging cord for my for a device real quick. I operate 3 devices while I'm live, so I got to get a charging cord. I moved it across the room. So just take me a second. You should still be able to hear me. I'll sound distant, I'm sure. But it'll only take a minute. It's been crazy though. Oh God. All right, I'm coming back now. Like I said, I had to get a charger for one of my live stream setups with the chat operating other stuff. Like I said, I use 3 devices, so it gets to be a little chaotic sometimes. But it's the only way I can figure out how to do it. All right, there we go. But yeah, one of my devices was having a little. It was having a little. Let us say, charging issue there. It's gonna go dead on me. How much have you missed? I just started. I'm just talking about. Is my daughter? Yeah. She's my wife and the littlest one are the store right now. My oldest little umbrella girl. She's actually, this is my office area. It's big. It's a big area. Now, one of the things about this house is it does have a big like basement area that we converted into. It's funny, like these folks are like, oh yeah, you're a basement dweller. I'm like, yeah, my basement down here is probably, bigger than that cat box that you live in. But hey, I mean semantics, right? Yeah. I mean the arcade machine across from me, the Terminator 2. I bought 3 things out of. Usually, I try to funnel everything that we do into the betterment of family or whatever. But I've had 3 major indulgences that I've picked up. I picked up a couple of those little arcade 1-ups. They cost about $300 or $400. So I picked up the Terminator 2 machine. I picked up the Tron machine, and I bought a couple of used as well. I always wanted Tempest since I was a little kid. Growing up poor, growing up really poor. I wanted to go to arcades and stuff, and I always wanted to play that game Tempest. I love that game so much, and I managed to get it. I would like to have a game that plays, or a setup that plays that game. The Nintendo game Jackal. I would love to have something that plays it just because of the nostalgia to it. But I don't have that yet. But I bought for my birthday, I bought a sideshow statue. And the sideshow statue cost about $600. So that's about my major indulgences, just throwing out there. I've been doing this for years. The rest of it goes into everything from charity to, again, we do about 1/4 of all of our stuff into charity. And we pump it into the home and everything else too. But every now and then you buy something, and you get to write it off too, which is nice. But anyway, you're a bit late. Oh, it's all good. Hey Ben, what's up, man? So Tug's that umbrella god. Tiny Tug is a demigod. Is that what it is? Like I said, this channel is not monetized. If you want to super chat or something, I'll treat it just like super chatting. There is a PayPal link in the description. If you use it, like I said, I'll go right back over there. But yeah, the insane, like, so I've been talking to a source that's attached to the Amber Heard crazies, those folks, and they have been trying to kick up the false flagging to the nth degree. You've got to remember, like, it's not just the fact that there was a naming of the channel and that stuff as far as that umbrella guy is concerned, but it goes further than that. What they also when they took down Adam Waldman, they told me specifically, I had the same person that celebrated them, the one that was saying that they were connected to Team Amber Heard. They pointed me out on Twitter, and they said specifically, you are next. You are next. And so they've been trying to do that for a while, but now they have all these just flunkies that are out there because, of course, listen and believe. Who cares about the evidence? You've got to silence people when they talk about that, And it's funny. It's funny the way that they try, and they try so hard to do that. They try so hard to silence people. I heard from a couple of sources. By the way, I've got a document for you today. Later, we're gonna put this on the main channel though. But I've got a document for you later that a lot of you probably have not seen. If you think judges do not like her team now, yeah. So there's a document showing how Amber Heard's team, there's a transcript of a meeting, and Amber Heard's team, they quite literally get bawled out for 10 minutes in it. It's like 10 pages of like going after her lawyers to the point that the lawyer asks him to stop. That they ask the judge if they'll stop. It's not fair, judge. And I mean, it's amazing. I've never seen anything like it. But it shows you like who these people are, and it shows you how the judges actually feel about them. Like, it's something that has happened in every jurisdiction too. So they could have made this case easier. They could have made it. They could have cooperated. Like JD, you've got to remember, like JD was asking for simple things that the lawyer was kind of. I mean, the judges have been kind of surprised by. You can tell guilt by the way that she's answered certain things. Like, for example, charity. Charity's gotten the judges going because typically, if someone asks for a receipt of charitable donations, what will happen with that is you'll turn it over without much ado, right? You'll make that you'll make that available to whomever. She doesn't do that. She argues it in the courtroom. It was astounding to watch, like through the Virginia courts. And remember, there are 3 courtrooms that are involved in this. Most people don't realize this. You had the court in LA that was involved because the divorce settlement, the LAPD, all of that stuff, of course, it goes through LA. So, of course, you're going to have them involved. You have Virginia, which we're watching right now. But as an offshoot of it, too, you had New York because of charitable donations. See, in charitable donations, you had the CHLA came off of what happened with their donations. They came off of that information relatively quickly. They were a little slow about it, but that was because they were understaffed. It's because the beer bug hit. When you look at it in perspective, like a societal perspective, you can understand why they were slower. The ACLU, though, which you've seen the proof of why the ACLU wouldn't want their records turned over, but the ACLU would not work with the subpoenas. They refused. In fact, the ACLU has played crazy games throughout this stuff. The ACLU, they tried to work their way into this litigation at one time. They tried to pretend that they were just a concerned party. There's I forget what they call that. You'd have to ask one of the lawyers. I can't remember what they call it. But the ACLU actually tried to get involved, offering their legal assistance in this process. And it's crazy. It's crazy to see, wow, there's 1,000 people watching this thing. It's nuts. But the ACLU, they said they wormed their way. They tried to worm their way in. Now, people like Adam Waldman shut that down. And they had always said, like, you got to remember, when I talk about Adam Waldman and what he did, he was doing a lot of this stuff. He was talking about it openly, and that's why they hated him, and that's why they want to shut him down. That's also why they keep trying to aim and take out my channels and shut me down. Again, I talked to my MCN today. Shout out to them too. If they want to be named, I asked my MCN my multi-channel network, if they wanted to me to give them a shout out by name, because they've done some good work for me. Yeah, so I'm gonna give them a shout out. I'm gonna give them a shout out right now. So I belong to an MCN again. Now MCNs, if you don't understand what that is, this is how I operate online. This is the only way that I can operate online. All right, because of the false flagging and stuff. I belong to an MCN that Yellow Flash belongs to as well. MCN means multi-channel network. A multi-channel network is basically, now there are a lot of scam ones, so you have to get one that's real. And like I said, I have one that's good. They're called Elite Alliance. And what they do basically, like if you get flagged and you get hit by somebody, you automatically you're typically getting hit by someone that's a first level response. They're at maybe a call center. They get graded by quantity, not quality of decisions. And then when you appeal, it goes back to the same first level. And people typically want to get their workers in trouble. Again, they get graded on quantity of decision. So that's why, bam, strikes are upheld just like that normally. Well, what you have to do is you have to have another level of it. And you need somebody that can go in and advocate for you. Get to the people that need to review that. And if it is material that's a problem, then it'll stay. But like myself, I don't break those rules. I don't make fun of people's appearances. I don't, I don't really go down the low road of content for this kind of stuff. I know where the road is. I know where it's supposed to go, but they'll pull anything. Like in a court document, you're going through and there's like, oh my God, there's an email address on page 149. They'll try to flag that stuff. You may have some entry level person that's like, yeah, that's a problem right there, and bam, they end up striking a channel, and that's a big problem. Or again, the false flagging. So you have to have somebody advocate for you. The issue with that is that in order to operate here, you basically have to have an agent, is what it is, and that you have to give away about 10 to 30% of what you make, depending. For myself, it's about 10%. And but then again, like I said, my MCN, no complaint with them. They've been good people. They've been very good people. They've allowed me to operate. I've been hit 9 freaking times so far in the last year because of that stuff. And they've made it stronger, where over the last month, I've been able to operate pretty much freely, because otherwise, good God. But that's where we're at. That's where we're at, Now, they didn't take our main page down. No. We're good. I'm just talking about like the reality of this stupid. No, they didn't take down the main page or anything like that. We're operating. I'm just talking about. Here's another thing people don't know about. They don't know about what the heck. I'm reading something here real fast. So here's another thing most people don't realize too about YouTube. YouTube only gives you 3 notifications in a day. So if I want to make material, on say, I can put out 40,000 videos a day, whatever. I can put out multiple videos, but my subscribers will only find out about it 3 times a day. Now, yesterday, one of my notifications got out of whack, and it didn't notify anyone. So today I'll only be able to do 2 things on my channel and get notifications. So if I want people to be able to know that I'm live tomorrow, my 250,000 subscribers, that I'm live and watching the trial tomorrow, then I'll have to set on one notification. So we come over here and we talk about stuff, and again, I don't know, we have the channel anyway. Why not talk on it? I think I'm not surprised by the false flagging. I'm not at all, but the level of it is insane. Like, again, behind the scenes. So like I was saying before, one of the trusted people in those groups of Amber Heard folks, one of their trusted people is leaking things outside of it. And they don't mind that being said. So one of them is talking about some of the crap they do. Even without knowing that, though, I would know what they would be up to. They've been doing it for a while. And like I said, they pointed directly at me after they got Adam up and suspended. And again, they said, you're next. And that Christina Taft, the one handing out handbills and putting them on cars, that also got removed from the courtroom. In my opinion, this is a personal opinion there. I believe that they have been building, essentially bots. Like they like to claim bots. I believe that they build them, and they build flagging bots. They use programs to just go in and hit videos over and over again. They do it like, excuse me, I had a nose spray there. Whew. That stuff's like an injection in the brain in the morning too. It's like, oh, but no, the weather out here is changing. But that person, that's why you're saying, okay, look at how many people had problems covering this in the last week. Look at all the weirdness that has gone on through LawTube. LawTube, I also heard from a very legitimate person within LawTube, somebody that, let's just say they're big LawTuber. If I name them, which I'm not going to, but if I name them, you'd be like, well, okay, yeah, I know that name for sure. That person was talking about attempts behind the scenes to dox some of the law tubers. And again, that's if you don't understand what that means, it's going after not just their names, but their addresses, where they live, where they operate, going after their licenses, probably filing false police reports. I mean, just the absurd of that, the level of that. Because again, they're covering something that, they're getting enough attention over there too, that it's the same thing we've seen for a while, but they're going after that. I just think it's funny that, yeah, I mean, like a big law tuber was talking about that to me, and I thought, wow, you guys are experiencing that as well. That's just nuts. That's just nuts. That's funny. Legal Mindset hit me up a few hours back, and he was like, "Yo, do you want to come on?" And I slept for a couple of hours. I stayed up this morning after Flashcast, fell asleep for a couple of hours, woke up, made a video real fast, and I noticed that he hit me up, so I hit him back up, and he apparently stayed up through Flashcast. He just kept going. Eh. Yeah, I mean, I was just, like I said, I was shocked to hear the level of insanity going on with that. And again, these are people that cover cases all the time. And when they're saying this is nuts, right? When they're telling me that this stuff is crazy, it's a problem. I mean, it's an absolute problem then. When they're talking about doxing, and again, this isn't somebody like again, I'm careful about walking the source road, but when they're telling me that they're worried about doxing, that they're worried that people are, not for themselves, but they're going after other folks. Yeah. One second. It is sourcing me up about something. So I have a source that, I have a person that was attached to that Hollywood machine that knows about a certain Aquaman starlet and their history, where they claim they don't have a drug history. They know about it. They can directly talk about that too. I saw Andy had one person. I thought Andy's Popcorn Planet made me think about that. I thought, well, I know somebody that's connected to that actually they know all about that stuff. So I'll hit them up, and we'll probably pre-record something after the trial tomorrow afternoon. One second, but I'm hitting them up. I'm hitting all that up because I want to make sure that it sets up. I'm reading some of the chat too. You stepped on a bee. Yeah, I stepped on a bee. Is the main channel going? No, I'm just over here talking. Like again, the main channel is not gone. Maybe I should make my name that. Here we go. So I don't answer that too much. Yeah, give me a second. Let me see. Let me edit my name. Let's see. Main channel is fine. I wonder if that'll fit. Let's see. Main channel is fine. I'm on Tiny Tug channel. Yeah. My wife walked in with, good God, man, that's heavy. Jeez. She bought me Sundays. There's the grossest breakfast ever out there. So she brought me some Sonic breakfast burritos. Ugh. Gross, man. But they feel like they're made out of bricks or something. Main channel is fine. No, like I said though, there are a lot of false flagging attempts. It's been nutty. We do have a multi-channel. That's why I'm still here. But you talk about this stuff when it comes up. You should always talk about what's going on. You should always you should be transparent in everything that happens. I've found that it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if people are false flagging, if you're getting crazy email, you catalog it all. You catalog everything that happened. And I'm not cataloging this on my main channel. Well, first of all, I want to come over here and talk because it helps this channel's numbers, number one. Number two, I don't have enough. I've got to prepare for tomorrow. Like I said, I only get so many notifications. But number three, I don't know. I have this channel. I want to talk on it. That's just it's easy as that. I think it's simple. Like I said, oh God, 2,700 people though. But main channel is fine. I think it's a good name there. Yeah, but it is funny though. It's funny. You should see the reaction to the shirts that we put out yesterday. Oh my God. The people are going crazy over that Adam Waldman shirt. Like they went nuts over that. They were not happy about it. Like they don't like the mocking stuff, the stuff that kind of, it's not mocking anybody, but it mocks their being offended. And they're very good at being offended, They're very good at being offended. So we actually put out 2 for that umbrella god thing. And oh my God, one of them, the way that they reacted just cracked me up. So let me show you both of those. But I mean, the response to it was freaking hilarious. I mean, I don't know. It cracked me up, like I said. So one of those, actually both of them, I think they're pretty like lightweight in their own. Like they're not offensive or anything, but they make them mad. Look here on this one, you have they have Adam Waldman held up by Angel handed down the phone. He's like, pick up the phone, man. Pick up the phone. Oh my God, I love that one. Like I love it. And the reaction to that has been hilarious. Like the getting offended. I learned early on, like you don't ever take any of this stuff personally, but God, those people do. They get mad about it. And I love it. I'm going to link that into the description, by the way. Oh, here we go. I need to assign some mods on this channel. I need some mods here. Like a few of you. Lola Meats, of course. Do you not have a mod? Like I've never assigned moderators here. Ben Henderson. There's you a wrench. I'm trying to see who's here. Again, don't ban people. It's into the cringy. There you go. You're around a lot. Again, you get a lot of messages that get held by people and stuff like that. So I handed out a few mods. I'll probably hand out a few more over time. So please pick me. It's not I just give it I'm just handing out a few of like people that I see right off the bat, Oh, Joe Froggo. Oh man, I almost put you in timeout, Froggo. I missed the button. I have no life. Yeah, I mean, I'll grab some people. Who is Tug? Tug is Tug. That is Tug. Okay, listen, that umbrella guy, TUG. That's where it comes from. So people just shorten it to Tug. That umbrella guy. It's funny too. When that was first done, somebody brought it up, and I thought it was hilarious because it's people were like, that sounds dirty. So if anybody wanted a channel shout out, I used to call it a tug plug. You want a tug plug, baby? I love it. Mod your kids. My kids are so little, they'd probably ban all of you. They wouldn't know what they were doing. Give my 2-year-old a wrench. She'd be like, that'd be hilarious. Yeah, we used to call it a tug plug, though. And people would be like, it's terrible. Oh my God. Some people I was like, well, if you don't want a channel shout out, that's fine. I don't have to give you one. Yeah. I don't know. That's like funny. I'm like, your mind's dirty. Your mind's dirty if you think that's bad. We had a PayPal come in. Let's check it out. Hey, Ben, what's up? Thank you. Could you give a shout out to the cautionzone.com? Yeah, actually link your stuff in there, Ben. So Ben's been around a while. Ben's good people too. Also a comic creator and so much more. But he's at the cautionzone.com. I have some funny depth versus herd stuff there. And if it's too small a channel, please don't worry. Now, man, it ain't about size of channel. You know, everybody's got to get started somewhere. We all do. We all do. You know, well, Jennifer Howe be hearsay. Let's talk about Jennifer Howe for just a second while we're discussing stuff, okay? Because this stream is probably even more freeform than any other stream that I do. You know, the other stream, I know I'm terrible about staying on topic with the other channel, but this is even more freeform. I come on with an idea and I just talk about stuff, and I think it's good that way. Look, here's the other one. Look, that umbrella god. We decided, you know, again, I don't want it to be offensive toward anybody's religious stuff. If you don't understand the joke here, when YouTube, when they subtitled Adam Waldman talking about how he'd been in contact with that umbrella guy, it said, you know, when it said, have you, you know, I've been in contact with that umbrella god. So it was kind of funny. So you have like a forgotten, like, you know, Aztec kind of a vibe. I thought that was funny. I'm going to get one of those. I think they're hilarious. But that's where that joke comes from, you know. I want to keep it on the funny side, keep it on the lightweight side. Because again, you know, it isn't about offending anybody's religion. It's about having fun, you know. Let's pull up the Jennifer Howe stuff while we're talking about it. Give me 1 minute. Like I said, I've got a really good document for later on today. I'll have to make a thumbnail a little bit. But Jennifer Howe statement, a lot of it is hearsay, but some of it will directly refute. So here's the thing: a lot of people, I guess, don't understand about Jennifer Howe. It's Jennifer Howe's stuff. There are multiple versions of one incident we call the staircase incident. You know, you've had Heard bring it up. You've had, you've actually had, I think, here, let me throw this out here. You've had what, 3, 4, 5 parties that brought it up so far. You had Amber Heard, Johnny Depp, the sister, Travis McGivern, the nurse. There's 5 parties I can remember right off the top of the head that have brought it up. And any story coming from Amber Heard's side directly conflicts the other one. In fact, Amber Heard's sister's story directly conflicts her story. So one of the fascinating things, though, is there are actually 2 other stories we've not heard. Excuse me, I took a bite of that breakfast burrito. There's Jennifer Howe, and there's a guy named Vince Jolivet. Vince Jolivet, that document, it may be public in the fact that I talked about it, so it's public, but it was not public. Let's see, Vince Jolivet statement. Let me see if it's public. I put it out there on my own. You know. So let me, like I said, let me bring that up. So Vince Jolivet, like I said, he made a, I mean, again, this is something that I got from a source. I put it out there. Other people picked it up afterwards. You can see my editing lines. You can tell when I've done something because you can see a lot of times my editing lines at the time. You couldn't bring up Amber Heard at all in the past. Like, this has been such an edited topic. You couldn't really even use her name. You could use it in the title, but you couldn't really use it in the tagging, and you couldn't use it in the first X amount of minutes. Here's another PayPal from TN. TM says, thanks for the 4 there. Accept this humble tip from a poor student. Your content lately has kept me sane through architectural school. Just drafting, tugging and thugging. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. I hope your studies are going well. Man, I remember I didn't directly go to school. I went back to school as I got older. And yeah, I remember how much work that was. So, and that was, again, all this discussion about psychology and, mental health. That was my field of discussion. I was always interested in how the mind works, and why people do certain things. So I got into that, and then I did the rounds in higher education for a little bit, teaching. It started out with TAing, and it was assistantship. And first I started working my way up, thinking that maybe I could get a little bit higher in schooling. And then I had an incident there was a student one time, and it really woke me up to how I didn't want to work in that field because of the entitlement some people bring. This guy, he came into the classroom, and he never wore shoes, right? Ever wore shoes. And he wouldn't wear a deodorant, and he stunk bad. Like it was bad. It was very bad. Well, that particular day, he had stepped in dog crap, and he tracked it into the room, and I was very unhappy about that, and everyone else was too. It smelled bad. He was walking it in like it was no big deal. So I told him he needed to leave the room. Well, he complained about it to the school, and the school didn't do a formal anything with it, but they complained to me because this guy, his father, was like some big donor with the school. And I was like, but he tracked dog crap into the room. What about the other students that are in there? Like we were in some kind of, I can't remember. It was an advanced statistics class, or maybe it was an intro to statistics class. I used to teach a lot of like statistics and how to report. And God, it's been so long, I don't even remember half the stuff we used to do with that. But I used to teach statistics, how to report that with specific programs. At the time it was just more basic programs, and of course how to use specific formats to write up your reports, like APA and all that. But this guy, again, after that, I was like, So I ended up looking for work in the mental health sector. I thought it would be interesting, and I actually took an intro job because I wanted to understand it from the ground up. So I actually took at the time they called it case management. While I was looking for a job, I took a lower paying case management job because, again, I wanted to understand, like, that if you're a therapist or something, you don't technically understand your clientele. You see them for a small slice of time. I wanted to see extreme mental health behavior in controlled settings, like you would see it in housing. There's houses, like if people get out of crisis control. Say you go to the hospital, you've had a psychotic break, you get out of it, you go to housing. About less than 1% of people can go to housing, and when you go to housing, you've got to have people that monitor, help you out, because the point is to try to, number one, see if you're ready to acclimate into society, and number two, to get you there. So I did that for a little while, and then I got into to therapy from there because I thought, well, I've learned what I want there. I want to directly work with clients and decide how their care works. So that's I know that was totally off point, but I don't know. It speaks to when I talk about the mental health of some of these people, I talk about it with experience, like I don't talk about it just as a YouTuber that's just there's a lot of people that give their impression on someone's mental health, but they don't understand the practice of mental health. Mental health also, it's guided by science, but it is an art. Like being a diagnostician is an art. It is not it is guided by science, but you can diagnose people with the same person with 30 or 40 different diagnoses. You find the best qualifying through the process of elimination. You go through that, and that's that's why you don't see consensus on like Amber Heard. You'll see people argue about certain aspects of personality disorder. One thing people should agree on is the malingering, the faking of PTSD, because she's definitely faking PTSD. If you think that's not true, by the way, you need to go back and look at her 2016 divorce statements and compare them to now. You can go online, look them up, look at 15 minutes of it, and look at how she acted during the divorce stuff, where she's claiming DVSA. What's messed up, by the way, like shorthand in mental health, oftentimes SA is substance abuse. So when people use it for sexual abuse, oftentimes, again, the two are, it's when I see SA, I hate that my mind automatically goes to substance abuse, but because I think, DVSA, that's usually the way like you see it. But anyway, regardless, she is definitely malingering. You could see that. You can see it through testing scales and everything else. But beyond that, But anyway, okay. So the staircase incident. This is a big one that kind of blew up in her face, as you were. You had, like I said, 5 people that have already gone on record talking about how this, that, or the other is true. Well, on top of that, whoa, God, that video from this morning is blowing up. I put out an Amber Heard and Aquaman 2 video on the main channel, and the thing's got 146,000 hits already. Well, but anyway, see, that's what I say. I'm a shiny squirrely. I look at something, I'm like, woo, shiny. It distracts me. But anyway, there are 2 other people. Vince Jolivet. Vince Jolivet was the partner for James Franco. Also, he connects to Jennifer Howell. But he's actually he's an outside person that can confirm what was happening there. And you have, in 2016, you have James Franco and Vince Jolivet. They end up sharing offices with Jennifer Howell, with the Art of Elysium. That's her charity. And that guy, Vince Jolivet, ends up dating Whitney Heard. And in the process, when he dates her, he asks her, "Why do you live with Jennifer Howell?" And she says, "Well, that's because she relayed to me a story about I had to stop Amber Heard from assaulting or abusing or trying to kill Johnny Depp, and in the process, how she almost knocked me down the stairs." So you have a guy who dated her that is also in the rank and file that never gets included in that. That's yet another person that backs up the JD testimony. And then you have Jennifer Howell. Now, Jennifer Howell is a wild card too, because Jennifer Howell is somebody that there's no benefit to her going out and saying something about Amber Heard in a negative. It's all negative for her, She, though, she doesn't care about Amber Heard. She actually cares about Whitney. That's the person that she actually owes allegiance to. I'll get another PayPal that came in from AM, by the way. There's not a statement added to that, but there's plenty of statement in you backing the channel. Thank you for that. But so in this, the main thing that you want to pay attention to is her statement about what happened with the staircase incident. Now, the reason she gets involved, she points this out too, is because Whitney Heard goes on the stand, or Whitney, whatever her freaking name is now. I just call her Whitney Heard. She's got a different name now, last name. But regardless, she goes on the stand and she lies. She lies about everything that transpired. She lies about her run-ins with Johnny Depp. She lies about when she left. She lies about the conditions of what happened with Jennifer Howell. She says, for example, on the stand, because she figured Jennifer Howell and her are close. They text back and forth. Although they haven't talked as much, lately. You can see that in text messages that came out as well. But she says that when I left, I had to go sleep on the floor of my employer. Basically, it was so bad, I had to go curl up in a ball in the carpet because the carpet. And Jennifer Howe's like, that's absurd. This is crazy. Because you didn't sleep on my floor. I gave you a room. It's just the dramatic embellishment that this family has. Sorry, like I said, I'm eating my breakfast bread. I'm hungry this morning. I lied. I've found that usually I wouldn't eat anything, but I mean, really, I've been live so much that it's either eat something while I'm live or don't eat. And yeah, I'm gonna eat me a breakfast burrito real quick while I'm talking. So you have to excuse that. Like I said, I know it's a little, but it is what it is. So anyway, she lies about that. She lies about other things too, like heavily lies. She lied so much in the UK trial that they got busted lying about it. They had to change their narrative. So Amber Heard and her, they were both colluding on a narrative about the the incident where they talk about him hanging a dog out the window and all of that stuff. That incident, they colluded on a narrative. And it was just so egregious, the things that they had to say about it. The transcripts are available, by the way. If you want to go in and you want to look up the transcripts, I don't remember what day she was on the stand, but if somebody will tell me the day that she was on the stand in the give me 1 second, let me pull my phone. If somebody will tell me the day that she was on the stand in the UK action, I will go get you the transcript and you can read it all you want. I just can't remember what day she was on the stand, but if you can tell me, I'll pull it up for you. So because she she lied and she lied and she lied. Yeah, liabetes, exactly. She's got a bad case of liabetes, in fact. But I mean, she did. She and her sister lied. They both combined into it. Miss Tug is a legend. Feeding you while you're live. I know, it's crazy. Is this Tug? This isn't Tug. This is Tiny Tug. Like, you people are crazy. This is Tiny Tug. You can see me in the picture with that umbrella guy. Like, look here. See, if you look at the picture here, you can actually see me. I'm sitting there right in front of that umbrella guy. Can't believe you folks. This is not that umbrella guy. God. That umbrella guy keeps me in a box. He's a monster. I mean, he's a great guy. No super chats here. Yeah, that's correct. But there is a PayPal link in the description. If you use it, like I said, I'll read them out just like it's a super chat. It won't be pinned to the audience thing, but again, it does that. So if you want to go that way, or there's the merch pin at the top. Like if you want to support the channel that way, but if not, who cares? But anyway, so Whitney testifies on the 23rd. Like I said, I don't remember what day in the proceeding that is. Like I said, there's an entire. The reason I offer transcripts because there's transcript of every day from the UK trial, and they're fascinating reading. I mean, they are fascinating reading. I loved reading through them because it shows you just how full of crap they are. Actually, give me a second. I can tell you. Okay. I can tell you with the date. So it was day 13. So it's actually day 13. Okay. If you want to read the transcript of day 13, I'm gonna put it into the chat while we're talking. Like I said, you can go through that at your leisure. I'm not reading the whole damn thing. It's too long. But it was day 13. I just looked through it on it says I'm aiming at the date. So that it says that the date was the 23rd here, and as far as the transcript is concerned, the transcript says at the top. Say, look here, I'll show you this. I'll pull it up real quick in front of you just to show you what I'm basing that on. It says it's the 23rd transcript. So day 13, it says it was the 23rd. So again, I haven't read through this to see like what witness is on the stand or anything, because it just it calls people, the witness and whatever, So, but it's fascinating because yeah, it's her. It's her. So that's right, because it says, your mother said this or your mother said that. There was a lot of, if you've not read these either, there is a lot more to these transcripts than there was in this trial. I mean, think about this. She was up there for what? A few minutes, right? Well, in this we got 79 pages worth of crap where she's talking. And one of her problems was, again, she gets looped into a narrative where she gets called out on some pictures. Like, they didn't know that there were certain pictures that existed. They find out, like, they had established a timeline. That timeline was disproven by that. So, I mean, it's just, like I said, it's a mess. I think that's her, though. Maybe it could be Amber Heard, actually. No, she's the bottom. My bad. It does say that, though. It is her, though. You can see, okay, there's a heading. I see it now. I remember now. It's been a while. So check this out, actually. If you want to look at that, let me just say this one more time. I linked it. You can see her name right at the top. So when she's going through, this has Amber Heard's testimony in it, too, some of it. So, again, this is day 13. Some of it's fascinating, but it's a lot of pages. So it's a lot to read. It's something. Jason Momoa's following her again. I mean, that's okay. Is he still following Johnny Depp? Unless he's unfollowed Johnny Depp. Like, the thing isn't not following her. The thing is, he had never followed Johnny Depp before. So following her, like, he's not the one who declared war. He's not the one that unfollowed her that I'm aware of. He actually, Amber Heard unfollowed. I mean, if we're talking about the right narrative, Amber Heard actually unfollowed him. If you look at her Instagram, you can see it right here at the top. The reason she followed them back again is because, and again, you can you can say, well, that umbrella guy could have been other stuff. No, we were live streaming. She had unfollowed it, and some other people found that. Right, they've been talking about it, and I thought it'd be fun to live stream. She'd been talking about the channel and stuff. I know they watch us. I know they do, and you can tell they mentioned us in the courtroom, and they mentioned, have you talked to that umbrella guy first? Because over time, if it would have been early on, they would have probably mentioned Incredibly Average first, and who knows how things would have gone. But you could see how they arranged who they wanted to call out, right? So they. It tells you they were paying attention. Well, somebody had noticed that she had unfollowed Jason Momoa and she had unfollowed the Aquaman movie. And to me, the Aquaman movie is the bigger tale. Jason Momoa, it could be any kind of petty thing. She's nasty. But unfollowing the Aquaman movie, the movie that paid you $2 million? I mean, come on. Like, that's crazy, right? So we were talking about it live, and I was laughing about it. And about 2 hours into that live stream, she follows them back in it. And I was like, oh my God, she's watching, because she has to be watching, because they course corrected, because they're like, oh my God, this looks bad. But with Jason Momoa, his following, the last person he followed, it looked like, I guess, was with Johnny Depp. And the thing is, you got to remember, he didn't unfollow him. Like, he followed him during his testimony, but he didn't unfollow him. He didn't unfollow him at all. So I think that's the more telling part. When she got up on the stand, Jason Momoa wasn't like, oh my God, I've made a mistake. Let me unfollow Johnny Depp. No, he kept following him. So that tells you that's like a that's like a giant sign that says liar, liar, pants on fire. But anyway, so Jennifer Howe, when she talks about this, she says, when she came to live with me, she was a mess. When he told me that she tried to stop Amber from hitting and attacking Johnny on the stairs, she tried to intervene to stop Amber from going after Johnny. Amber nearly pushed Whitney down the stairs. She told me she was worried Amber was going to kill Johnny. She said that she had endured that kind of abuse all her life from her father, then from Amber herself, who was extremely violent. And she was even reminded of her by her father that she said Whitney had moved in with me because she was terrified of her sister. Now, it's very telling. Jennifer Howe has social media accounts because she's part of the Art of Elysium. But after she went on record, the stuff aimed at her from 2020 on is so nasty. And it's those people, I'm telling you, the same people that take aim at my channels and everything else, they do this. They go after witnesses too. They go after it. They go after them probably deeper in rooms with only the most trusted people in there. But they, at one time, they messed up and they started talking about Stephen Deuters after 2020. They started talking about going after him. And that kind of revealed them, My wife asked me if I talked about the mass flagging of my platforms yet. Yeah. We'll talk about how bad that was in just a second. But these people were so close. Like, you got to remember, the person that's saying this stuff was so close to that family that she would go over, she would visit with the mom, she would have, she would do things with Amber and them. And when Amber got in trouble with in the UK, with the dog thing, she actually kind of bailed her out. She bailed her out by attaching her to her charity and saying, she's a representative of the Art of Elysium. Essentially, this is good people here. I don't know what you're talking about. This person's good people. So she gave her an out during all of that stuff. She went on record and did so too. So this person going on record and going at Amber Heard saying that this is what truly transpired, that should truly speak to people about just how bad this stuff has been. Because for her to go against the friend group, they're nasty too. If you think that they don't pay people back, I'm going to tell you a little story about one of the witnesses that turned on her. There's a witness named Laura Devonaire. Laura Devonaire went on record talking about Amber Heard and said that her story was essentially a lie. Now, she worked for Elon Musk. She has a lot of connection to Amber Heard, Elon, everybody there, right? But she went on the record with Adam Waldman, and she said, "I didn't see anything." And I'm aware she made a number of accusations that, she threw a phone. I was around her the 23rd, 24th, and 25th. On those days, I saw her up close and personal, and I didn't observe anything. I saw nothing on her at all. In my many interactions over the years, she didn't ever mention any allegations of violence, nothing. And Johnny Depp was a good person. I liked being around him. So, yeah. Now, what happened with that is Amber Heard was so mad that she did that Amber Heard burned her in the courtroom. She called her over to talk to her. She told her that, she wanted to discuss what Adam Waldman, that mean old monster, had done. And when she did that, she secretly recorded her because that's Amber Heard's MO. You can see that right here. There's about 19 minutes of footage on that. And she kind of testifies during, because she's the one that's recording. there's so much garbage that is allowed in that courtroom in the UK court. Its rules. It's just astounding. All of the stuff that we would consider hearsay in this trial that's allowed in the UK. But that was one of the things they entered the 1937 audio clip, and it was just like I said, it was an ultimate betrayal. But that's who she is. You know, you step out of line, she tries to smack you back into it. She'll do that to her own friends. Imagine what she'll do to people she doesn't like. That's why the hyper fixation on me has been interesting. Did you know, by the way, that here's something that that kind of surprised me. Did you know that Eve Barlow was a fan of Johnny Depp? Like a big fan of Johnny Depp's. Like she bragged about it openly. She would talk about how like she had like Johnny Depp's number and some other stuff. It's just kind of weird. Like she somebody pulled up some of her old tweets. And her old tweets have her talking about Eve Barlow talking about Johnny Depp. Like she met Captain Jack Sparrow. Captain Jack Sparrow gave her his number or some crap like that. It was kind of crazy. When I looked at it, I thought, wow, that's nutty. I think I might have screenshot those. Let me see if I got them in my phone. If not, I'll have to go dig them back up. Yeah, I got them right here, actually. So in 2011 and also in 2015, she was totally about all about old Johnny Depp. She liked old Johnny Depp, but then she started getting in with Amber Heard, and suddenly all that changes. It's just like that with everybody, though. These people, they play that game. They always play that game too. They're nasty. I see another super chat came in here. Hey, AM, thanks for the buck there. In case YouTube deletes, do you have a Odyssey account? I do, but you know what? I probably wouldn't run an Odyssey like that. Just because. I mean, just to be quite frank about it, I like Odyssey's transfer method, but Odyssey picks up like 60 people. It's terrible. It's a horrible conversion over there, just to be honest. They haven't done they've done some, but a lot of alt platforms, they don't have the backing. They need monetary backing to get themselves like up and running. And it wasn't really it wasn't their fault per se how bad things went for them. They were attacked the U.S. government, basically. Their coin, LBRY, their cyber coin that they were backing themselves with, it was attacked. But look at this. I want to show you these tweets here. These are from Eve Barlow. Remember, Eve Barlow attacks Johnny Depp all the time. Yeah. So here's old Eve Barlow. Captain Jack Sparrow just asked for my number. #LA. Wow. You clout vampire, you. You clout vampire, you. Man. Let's post that. Let's ask about that. Let's ask old Eve Barlow here. Eve Barlow used to love her some Johnny Depp. Some Johnny Depp until Amber Heard told her not to. Wow. That's who these people are, though. Like I said, all these people that belong to that Hollywood machine, they're gross. She's just, like I said, a clout vampire. She wants to be somebody there. But I thought that was fascinating, considering all the damage that she's tried to do to Johnny Depp and to anyone that was connected to him in any way, shape, or form. Like she's gone out of her way to do damage. If you don't know who E. Barlow is for some reason, that it's the girlfriend that certain Aquaman starlet. She has gone out of her way to do some monstrous stuff. I mean, it's whew. But yeah, isn't that fascinating? Whoopsie. I'm guessing that's it. Oh, she was also talking about how in 2011 she was a big fan of the Libertine, whatever. I like that movie, by the way. I watched it not too long ago. But yeah, she was talking about how she was a big fan of old Johnny Depp. He was the greatest thing since sliced bread, basically, you know? Let's see. What do you think about the title? Judge Rex Heard's Lawyer. What do you think? Does that sound like a good live stream title? I'm making a live stream title while we're saying here. It's funny. Like, again, you know, some people have some of the people that you run into online, you know, like that are content creators, like larger ones, especially, you know, over 100,000 subs. They have staffs of people, and I don't know. I'd like to have a thumbnail person, though. I really would. If I ever hired anyone for anything, it would be to hire a thumbnail person to make me thumbnails. Because I hate to make thumbnails. I hate it. My thumbnails, they're not the best thumbnails in the world, but they're okay. But I would love to hire somebody for that. You know, but I was, somebody was asking me the other day. They were like, so, I've got my guys, you know, doing this or that. Maybe you should put your guys in touch with them. I was like, my guys. They were like, yeah, don't you have somebody that handles this? I was like, what do you think this is? The fucking Washington Post, man? I ain't got a staff. I do all this stuff on my own. I read, I research, I live stream, I set it up, I make videos, thumbnails, whatever. I do all this on my own. What are you talking about? Staff. Oh, Lord. The only thing I don't do is make comics on my own. By the way, let me mention the comic book since we are on this channel. I just was like, what? But they were like, yeah. And they were telling me they had like a thumbnail guy. That's why I said a thumbnail guy. It could be a girl, whatever. I don't care who it is. Thumbnail person, you know. But they were like, yeah, I got a thumbnail guy. And I was like, a thumbnail guy? Holy crap. Like, what world am I living in? You know, I mean, is that like, is that the equivalent? Is that the YouTube equivalent of drinking your tea like pinky out? Is that what having a thumbnail guy is? Because, man, I am living in the wrong century here. I'm still drinking out of puddles, baby. You know, I mean, what is going on? A thumbnail guy. Oh, my God. No, I don't have a thumbnail guy. That's why I say it that way. But yeah, I'd hire whoever. Man, you can make thumbnails. I'd be happy to step you in there, but I don't want to pay people like for that. That seems crazy. Anyway, let me mention the comic real quick too, since we are on here. We are in demand. In demand means we are working hard, but we have 3 comic books now. This is number 3. Like I said, we're working hard. The timer's all ran out. We're in demand there. In demand, like I said, means we're working for completion. Keep just trudging along, doing what we can, and it's looking good so far. I'm enjoying it. We need stuff like this to counteract the companies that we have dealt with over the last really, especially it's been highlighted over the last, say, 5 years, how terrible these companies are. Because you see one of the worst insults. I think that Warner Brothers, for example, they're the best target with this. They're in control of not just the fates of people like Johnny Depp and on, but they have all these multi-billion-dollar franchises, that they want to salvage. And yet, while they have them there, they have the audacity, the sheer audacity to tell their customers that it doesn't matter what you think about stuff. Now, again, like me, if a few people on my channel were like, "Blue, I hate this," whatever, you can't please everybody. But if I unanimously had like, if I had out of my subscribers, if I had 60 or 70,000 telling me there's something wrong, maybe I would think there's something wrong. And it's not just that. You can stick to your guns and make your decision, but there's a way that you handle the public. There's a way that you talk to them, and you don't go out and call them out. And I'm not talking about a person or two. I'm talking about your entire audience. You don't call them out and say, like they did with Peter Safran. We know what's best. You suck. Basically, that's the way they went with it. We know what's best for this movie. And if what's best for this movie is James Wan and Jason Momoa, it's her. And you find out that was a lie, by the way. They didn't think that she was best for the movie. That was their second choice. Well, if they denigrate their customers and stuff, you need to walk away from that. Not walk away from Aquaman, because screw the company entirely. Company doesn't appreciate you, walk away from them. But we don't give up our hobbies. That's what we want to create, alternate business. I think it's a good model for that. Some of it's harder, like a giant movie or something, but like the comic book industry, we don't need them anymore. We can lock them out totally. And that's one of the things that we work on. So we have our third book here, Hunt the Littlest Umbrella, 44 pages of all ages goodness. That's all ages means for everybody. The man on the helm is S.K. Bennett. S.K. Bennett is a phenomenal artist. I love his style here. But I also love the things like Hunt Her. And if you're looking, you're like, man, why is there an umbrella guy? Well, to you, it's just a detective and a little sidekick story. But this is a family endeavor for us. So this was the avatar for my daughter. So when she looks at this stuff, it's dad and her going out and solving adventures, and she can have her own artwork. She can do her own thing. I think it's awesome. You can see our pages here. Like I said, this is the way that we try to fight back. We create something. We create something that, again, is an alternative. And if you don't care about that kind of stuff, we have a donation tier too. You donate, unlike what these people have done, you donate a comic. We will match your comic, and we ourselves will match that. We'll march that sucker right into where it needs to go. So yeah, I think that stuff, it's necessary. So here's the link to that, here's the link to it. I want to put God in the middle of your hand tattoo. So you can be that umbrella God now. That's hilarious. That is funny. Yeah, I could add it to the middle of my hand tattoo. Yeah. I'm going to add the link into the description there while we're here. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to create a live stream for later on today on the main stuff. My wife was saying, yeah, I should talk about the craziness that's been aimed at. I mean, some of the people that aim vitriol, period, it astounds me sometimes. Like, for example, I've talked about that crazy Vickyverse, right? I've talked about them a few times. What people don't seem to understand is, like, some of these crazy people, they've got nothing in their lives besides their hate, besides the vitriol. Like, she's being sued. So this is a person that has filed false police reports, has threatened our kids, done crazy shit. I mean, just crazy stuff. Then ends up getting sued by one of the very people that they do some of this horrible stuff with, that they've gone after other people. Their circles break down and they eat each other. And she ends up getting sued. And during her litigation, she decides not to get a lawyer. She decides that she can wait. They end up serving the wrong place or whatever. And this guy asks for $711,000 as a default judgment. So she comes back out. I've heavily redacted this. I don't have to do that, by the way. It's strange. Like, when you think about this. So these are people, again, that they had no qualm coming to my hometown or calling my hometown or putting our police information out there. But and this is a public document, so I'm just redacting it because there are other people that live in the 501c3 she does. So anyway, it turns out that she, since 2019, has lived in 501c3 housing. That means charitable. She doesn't have a job. She doesn't have anything. She lives off the charity of others. Actual charity organization. This is a declaration that was added to that lawsuit talking about her. Since again 2019, she has lived in a home again provided by someone else. So while been doing all of this stuff, she lives in a charity freaking place. So, man, I keep thinking, man, why would you know, if you're at the bottom of the barrel right now, if you're at the lowest part, instead of getting your life together, why would you be sitting in line obsessing with people? Why wouldn't you try to dig your way out? Like, I mean, I guess it's a testament to the kind of people that you run across sometimes, the kind of low level thinking, the kind of, it kind of speaks to what they say, that whole, the gospel of the lowly makes low, except used in a different way. They preach a testament of low. They try to bring people low. It's strange. Like I was looking at so between this person, like for real. Okay, so the people that have currently that are major detractors. I have a guy who allegedly he and his brother. I'm just gonna say this the way it is. It's gross, but I'm gonna say it anyway. He and his brother allegedly, let's say they share more than a room. Yeah. People used to call them the incel brothers, and now they call them the incest brothers. That person like obsesses over me all the time. They're like, ugh, stay away. They've talked about our kids though. Oh, and some gross. They've talked about, qualifiers like I'm just gonna say ARPing, and that's crazy people, man. But get we have like a Section 8 Army guy, like a crazy dude, crazy dude. He's crazy. Again, if you've been Section 8, that doesn't mean necessarily. That means you were given a discharge because of, but that doesn't necessarily speak to you how you are now, or it could have been a screw up or anything. But this guy, yeah, he definitely was. Then we had for a while we had an actual little person that was putting up threads, which was really funny because he kept talking about like crazy stuff. And then we found out that, well, he actually released a picture of himself, and he kept making this is I think he's in my, let me see if he's still in my stuff here. He used to be in here, but I may have deleted him because I don't know. No, there he is. Okay, so somebody made a thing about him after he's I said after I found out that he was a little person, he was like threatening things. I was laughing at it. I was laughing at him. And I was like, what are you going to do? Pop out of my mailbox one day or pop out of a garbage can beside it? He's going to like, because he dresses up like Chucky. So anyway, somebody made a little art piece of that. They made a GIF of it. And this is the guy actually.
Oh boy, Chucky's gonna jump out of the garbage can and
that was the guy. He posted. So I went to Anime Matsuri, and in that I wore a hockey mask. I wore like a Jason type hockey mask with an umbrella symbol on it. And that guy posted a picture of himself as dressed as Chucky, and he was a bona fide little person. But he kept saying how he was going to stab me and stuff. I was like, this is bizarre. But yeah, I mean, again, I got this ragtag collection of wow. Wow. It's like these people are, they're like flies brought in. What a collection. KG, thank you for the $50 PayPal donation. Keep doing what you're doing. Absolutely love that you got a shout out at the Depp Heard trial. Yeah, like I said, I thought the biggest part is this from Variety. Don't tell me Variety wrote me for a quote. Is that Variety? I've had multiple mainstream places, right, trying to dig into the Waldman stuff, because they want to do a hit piece. Because God forbid, again, they'll even though my background, it's funny, because I talk about free speech, I talk about men actually. If a man is abused or something horrible happens to them, they need to be treated with respect and dignity. I stand with male domestic abuse survivors, just like I stand with female. I also talk about men's rights issues being an issue by itself, as well as women's rights issues being issued by themselves. And then we have universal issues. Because of all of that stuff, these places, they love to do hit pieces. And they like to call all of that like alt-right or, extreme right wing. And I'm like, yeah, I've got to, like, what about the mental health thing? What about the fact that we take we work with Medicare and Medicaid and social programs? Is that right? Is that extreme right wing too? This is not a political movement, by the way. I always find it funny because these places and their tactics. They're always doing stuff like that. It's never a surprise. It was a surprise. The first hit pieces were a surprise, but they're not a surprise anymore. Since you were brought up in the trial, does the jury get to look at your content? I guess not. I don't know. I don't know. They should be able to. Wouldn't that be fair? I mean, honestly, they just brought up, like, have you talked to a person named that umbrella guy? Like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, honestly, what kind of gotcha is that anyway? What he's supposed to be saying is it was them trying to salvage. I'll tell you what they tried to do. They tried to salvage the counterclaim narrative, because the counterclaim said that there were bots and this and that, he was controlling an army. Well, when that narrative fell through and the judge was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard, basically, that you can't prove that, threw it out. They had to save it. And one of the ways that they tried to save it was they switched it. They just dropped the bot narrative totally. They just threw it to the wayside. And instead they picked up a new narrative. And that new narrative was about how, I was laughing at something I just saw. It was about how they had contacted this array of people inside the mainstream and outside as well. And like Adam Waldman said, independent journalist. I love the fact that a mainstream organization could write, like, look how many look at Sky News right now, for example. They're a mainstream journalist setup, right? How many articles are they doing a day on the Johnny Depp thing? 30, 40, 50? Apparently, over time, over 3 years, I've done 687 videos on that topic. Now, that does not count. Like I've had hundreds. Actually, I've had thousands of videos before that. I've deleted a bunch of them too because they were so blech back in the day. But some of them still remain. But 687. I thought, well, the mainstream over this trial in there, I wonder if they've eclipsed that number with, like, say, I'm just picking out a place like Sky News in 6 weeks or 5 weeks. Actually, it's been 6 weeks with a gap, right? So in 6 weeks, have they eclipsed that number? Because I covered it for close to, I've covered before the UK 2020 trial. So no. Now they were complaining, like, I have 140 something in the last couple of months, and that's about normal. I'm putting out content at 3 things a day. That's what you're allowed. But they act like that's some kind of, oh my God, a journalist. I don't want to be a journalist. First of all, I've never wanted to be a journalist. I just want to find the truth behind a matter. I don't need the title of journalist. I already have a title. I have a title in my real life, and this thing, weirdly enough, has gotten bigger than like what I do in other endeavors. But it was never meant to be that way. It was just meant to look into stuff. I wanted to know the truth behind the accusations. I wanted to know about Vic Mignogna before that, and sometimes it takes a long time to get to the truth of the matter. But it's funny, like, again, part of their attack now has been, number. Yeah, she's got a Tug, what happened about the lying MSM wanted to talk to you? Did you speak to him? Hell no. I'm not going to speak to the mainstream media. If you're a small media organization out there and you hit me up, or a media organization that is at least been impartial, I will look too. But if you've been impartial, I might communicate with you. You're not gonna burn Adam Waldman through me. Like Adam Waldman said, we talked on the phone. I put out feelers for information. I don't remember how exactly we got in contact, and I can't quite recall everything about our conversation. All I remember about our conversation is that I spoke to Adam Waldman, and I wanted to know the truth of the matter, and I got to it. I have a haze around that mere moment. I have many other sources out there too. And I can't quite recall what any of us talked about. It's I used to keep notes, but yeah, I ate them all. My dog ate them. My dog ate my paperwork. No, for real though. Waldman is not like, they want to treat him like he's bad people. Waldman wanted to know the truth of the matter. He went out on his own. He wanted to find out what was going on, do some stuff there, and nope. Do you think there's something like a OJ moment can happen here? What do you mean, an OJ moment? I don't know what you mean by that. Pierre Guy is hounding Court TV. Court TV is just a shill anyway. Are you something like an investigative journalist? I'm just a dude that's out here and wanted to understand what's going on. I mean, like I said, I got a life and a job outside of YouTube. I just thought it was fascinating. I got on YouTube to talk about the problem in comic books and the problem with customer relations. Places treating you like trash, like them going out and disparaging you, calling you, sexist, racist, Nazis. Again, it was like comparing. It's like looking at an escalator that goes up and down. The quality declines, but the abuse, it keeps escalating. So I was talking about that, and then in 2019, I kept noticing this rise in false allegations. They kept going up. Once Me Too really got rolling, you started seeing people one by one. You noticed people that they would get accused. And then the accusations got so bad that you would notice 1 to 2 people being accused a day. In comic books, it was worse. There were some days where 3 people were being accused a day of some kind of sexual misconduct. And it was insane. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't exist either. There are some repugnant people out there. But every time someone accused another person, bam, their life was gone. It was over. Anything you built in your career, you better stop and apologize, baby, because it's over. I tell you what, there's nothing in my life I'm going to apologize for, because I'm proud of everything in my life. I've gone bankrupt in my life before because I tried to take care of my daddy when he was dying of cancer. I'm proud of that. I don't give a fuck. You can try to use that against me. I don't care. And I mean, we failed financially before in other stuff. You reach out of the dirt, you try to do something. I'm proud of it. Let's see. I'm trying to think of other things that people have tried to weaponize there. Marriage. They bring up my wife is younger than me. Oh, whoopee. They come up with the weirdest stories with that stuff too. I met my wife in college, actually. I'd gone back to college. I met my wife there, and they were like, so this one guy pulls up a background report, and it, for some reason, in this it's one of those online background reports, they're crappy anyway, but it has me at the same address for like 14 years. It's very strange because again, in that time, like I've moved around, I've moved out of state. You can even they doxed one of my jobs and it wasn't in the same area. I would have had to drive like an insane amount of hours every day just to get there. It was just like weird. But they came up with this weird narrative that I met my wife when I was a guidance counselor and she was like 13 or something. I was like, what in the world are you wackos talking about? Because they want to ruin your life anytime you cover anything like they don't like. And I kept thinking, what in the hell are you on about? And these people, I mean, what they try to do is, first of all, the first move that they made, honestly, with going after anything is they went after our kids the first time. They filed false reports with CPS. I don't know what those reports were, but I know that they happened because I talked to the lawyer for Vic Mignogna at the time. I talked to Ty Beard about it. I talked to him, and he took me on as a client because of that, and he contacted CPS down here, and it was just crazy. I mean, it's fucking crazy. But I mean, that was the first move, and then they tried to attack professionally. They doxed my bank information as far as like bankruptcy in the past. I thought that was funny. I was like, so you entitled pieces of garbage. They laughed. Oh, I went to community college when I started out. Yeah. I was poor. I come from nothing. I was like, that's not the biggest gotcha ever. Yeah. They doxed like that. They were like, oh, you went to community college for 2 years. Yeah, I did. I did indeed. And it built up, and I'm proud of it. I'm proud of the way I scratched and clawed my way to an education. I'm the first person to ever do it in my family. It was just astounding, like the entitlement that came from these people. That's one thing, like with the Johnny Depp story. Again, he talks about coming from the dirt, from the nothing, from the Appalachians, where there's nothing. Well, that's where we're from, baby. And out here, like it is poor. Out here, there is nothing. There's no opportunity in a lot of places. And despite all of that, my mom worked hard, but despite all that, pulled it from nothing, man. And yeah, we fell along with my dad. I got up to PhD level, and I was going for my practicum stuff, and my father was really sick at the time, and he couldn't get any more help. So my mom was helping him out all the time. And this is my stepfather, by the way, my biological father. We don't talk about him, but yeah, I extended every dollar I had, expended everything, and it broke me financially. And I'd do it again in a heartbeat. It added 6 years to a person that I cared about. And they wanted to use that as a gotcha. Like I said, these people try to use anything, but it's funny because none of that stuff, like I said, you should be proud of your past. I mean, there's stuff in there too. Like I have a substance abuse history they don't know about. I'm the one who brought that up. Like they don't know about that. I still go to counseling for it and stuff because it's a thing. It's a devil that follows you, especially when you're on the top, man. When you're doing good in your life, that's when the devil comes for you, And that doesn't have to be a religious statement, I'm just saying, man, that's when those vices, if you've got money, you got something, that's when those devils come for you when you're at your best. But yeah, I mean, I had a heavy substance abuse problem, The thing that got me out of that was my kids. I mean, my wife, she was pregnant, and I never planned to have kids, but we were going to have them, and well, you can't have them with a master. So but I thought it was funny. Like I said, they try to use all that stuff as a gotcha. You see how they did in the Depp trial, man. If you've got anything in your background, they're like, oh, there's it's like, what? Substance abuse, like everybody that they talk about is a substance abuser. And you know what? Like, I don't talk about like background that leads to substance abuse, like all the messed up stuff that happened in life that leads to that. I mean, I like to, the one thing that people leave out of their stories, they always talk about how they medicate. And yeah, you medicate, but at the same time, you like the euphoria that comes with it. You like the drugs. I mean, it's just that's the reality of it too. Like everybody leaves it out and tells a sob story, and it's not that all the time. You may start because you're self-medicating, because everybody's got a hole. Everybody's got something. And you know what? The only thing you can fill that with, you can't fill it with material goods. You can't fill it with words. You can't fill it with drugs. You have to fill it with something else. And even if when you fill it in, you'll always feel like that hole's there, because we all feel like we're empty inside a little bit, and that's okay. You just got to get used to the idea that it's not real. Well, like there's more out there, and once you get to that point, then I think you can change. Anyway, that's a rambling thought. But the whole point in that was that these people, like I said, they try to weaponize everything, and it astounds me sometimes, because the stuff that they try to weaponize they're the biggest nothing burgers ever, but that doesn't matter. They turn it. That's what the media does. They're really good at. They turn like nothing into fodder. And they also believe lies. It's not necessarily the preaching of nothing that I had a problem with the media. It's more the way, like with the Johnny Depp story, for example. Look at what they did with that guy. They had no information. They didn't care what the truth was. They just went out of their way to destroy that guy because some lady said that he was a piece of garbage. And did she have an agenda? Of course she had an agenda. Like, she was trying to get $14.2 million out of the man. But hey, that didn't matter, because listen and believe. They destroy everyone with agendas. I've watched people, one of the things, like, it cracks me up, like when these people brought up like videos and stuff, they expect some kind of public contrition, like if they think that they've got, oh, I got you with something, you're going to apologize. I ain't apologizing for shit. I ain't done anything wrong. I'm proud of what I do. Kiss my butt. Johnny Depp's innocent. You ain't got nothing. And you're backing a domestic abuser, you garbage pieces. I mean, seriously. At the end of the day, like, if that's all they got, they ain't got nothing. Anyway, that was a long rant, like I said, but it's the truth. They got nothing. Nobody. If they were focused, see, if they had something, what they would do is they would focus on the idea that they had information that prove someone like me or someone like you, if you're talking about it, wrong. But they never try for that, do they? They always try for the attacks behind the scenes, because that's they can't counteract it, Stay strong. I ain't worried about any of it. Hey, Laura, give you a wrench too. Get your wrench on. I don't see even that the jury is listening and believe. What do you think? Now, again, like from what I've heard, but the jury, we're taking other people's words on what the jury is. We're taking them on there. If you don't mind, when they ask him, what was your substance abuse? My favorite drug were Percocet. I love Percocet. I don't say loved, but I also, at the time, now I know it's different now, but at the time I also, like, toward the end, in the backdrop of that, I had a fentanyl problem, and I'm talking about like the patches that people use, like pain patches. They'll have like microgram doses, like 150 micrograms or whatever. Yeah, I used to cut those open and take them and chew them up after you take those. So you take like three days of painkiller and cut that sucker open, bam, hit it. And I got to the point where I would do like two big ones and two small ones a day. I mean, that was a bad drug habit, and I'm surprised I'm not dead. but you live through it, and it's amazing. Like I said, I mean, I had a roaring drug habit. It was bad. It was very bad. But yeah, I mean, I was at one time I was taking, I was getting about Percocet. Before they, I went in. I had medical problems at one time too. I had this pain that would come up in my side. It was horrible. Like, it used to just devastate. And what's crazy is I lived with it for the longest time. And when I went in, I couldn't get any answer to it. The places I went through this ringer of tests just over and over again. And after a while, what's crazy is I lived with this for, I mean, God, a decade or more. And then my appendix finally, it ruptured. After it ruptured, and I had my gallbladder taken out in a month. Right, like in a month or maybe 2 months, I don't remember. It was a short span. After I had that done, that pain went away. I think it was inside of my appendix, whatever it was. But it was just so bad, and it was always there. And I went to this doctor, and this doctor, after they couldn't find an answer, gave me Percocet, and they gave me like 3 a day. And then, of course, like after 3 a day, you're like, I need more. Because it's not taking that pain out. After a while, you get used to it, and you're getting addicted too. So, after 3 a day and more a day, and after a while, every 15 days, I was going through 300 Percocet freaking every 15 days. So, and they were giving them to me because there was no restriction on it. And sometimes I could get more with that. And then it escalates from there. I mean, I was taking ungodly amounts of drugs. And of course, I'm not like taking them, I mean, you're talking about crushing up pills and stuff. Like the whole, like how I took a couple of pills. No, and hardcore drug users, you crush them, you snort pills. I knew it was really bad when I would go places, and I would go into the bathroom and crush something up, and you sit there like at a public place. I'm just like, fuck it, I don't care, because you're a full blown drug addict, and after that, like I said, I managed pain patches and everything else. Like I don't know how I lived through that. I don't. I have no idea. But I don't know how my liver lived through that either. My liver enzymes are still good. Like, that's the amazing thing. My liver's still good. But I mean, that's the truth of it. Like the thing that really got me, like I really spiraled out when my stepfather, when he died, like I hit a spiral, like a bad one. And my kids, my daughter, when she was going to be born, I thought, man, I got to get this fixed. I tried 12-stepping before. Man, I couldn't do that. Like, it didn't work for me. White knuckle sobriety, praying to God, hoping it goes away. It didn't work. That stuff doesn't work. So, I mean, it does for some people. If it does for you, that's awesome. So I went and I talked to doctors about alternative means. And I found an alternative mean to help me out with that. And it worked, and within around 9 years, I'd say about 9 years of sobriety there. I mean, I've had slip ups, but I haven't had one in a long time. Ultimately, you have to do this stuff for yourself too, I can say, well, my kid, and they were the catalyst for it. But the reason I kept failing was because, you have slip ups because it's there. It never goes away. And, I mean, you just have it. But like I said, I look at the Johnny Depp story, and people turning that into an abuse story just offends me. I mean, it absolutely offends me. Because it assumes that you're outside of your faculties. Like, some people will be outside of their faculties, but there's this assumption in it that there's some horror. SD, by the way, thanks for the 25 there. From Bug Love, hey, thanks. Congrats on the new channel. Hey, yeah, thank you for this one. Wrench me if you need a mod. What's your app? I can hear the little one like pulling onto there. Yeah. Yeah, you didn't have to hit rock bottom. I mean, I still talk to somebody. I still have to, I'm not going to talk about specifically what I do for that, but I still do maintenance for that. It never goes away. I spent a long time doing it, and I learned one thing: you never trust yourself. You arm yourself with that thing called coping skills, but you never trust yourself. And, you surround yourself by people that, you can. I mean, if you're having a bad day, you gotta have somebody to reach out. I'm not talking about a bad day. Like if I'm gonna get in my car and go do something, and I've been there. I've been there, man. Yeah. I mean, in the past, like if I had a comic book, I tell you, if I had a comic book 10 years ago and I made $100,000 and it went in my bank, I wouldn't have lived through that day, because I bought a kilo of freaking cocaine or something and I would have probably died. But I mean, when I talk about drugs, I mean, I've used I never got into needle use because I don't like needles. It's not necessarily from any aversion to that. It's just, there's just something about it. It made me like the way it hits you, make you feel sick. I tried it. I tried all kinds of drug use, but I just never got into that. But yeah, man, I got into some really hardcore shit, and that's why I like Nerdrotic. That's online. Like he's never hidden his background. I didn't talk about any of this for the longest time ever. I feel like you can have a powerful testament and testimony and discuss this, but I never talked about it for the longest time because social fear, because people with backgrounds like that are ostracized. You get treated like trash. Look at the Johnny Depp trial. Look at what they turned him into because he has a drug use history. It doesn't matter what he is in life. It doesn't matter his accomplishments. It doesn't matter. He fought this demon and he was losing to it. Because again, like I said, the devil comes for you when you're on the top, man. And again, don't take that as a religious statement. I'm just saying, like these devils around you, they come for you when you were on the top. Some of those devils are very human. They come for you and they try to tear you down, and they'll do that. But it's just amazing because, again, that guy had unlimited access. There's so many people around there that just want to placate and please. They want to bring him whatever. They want to tear him down, take away from him. Like I can't even imagine. Like I could have never stopped if I was in his situation. I never would have stopped. I couldn't because there was always somebody that wanted to give it to him. Plus, I mean, look at that. Like that's the problem with like Amber Heard, man. Like he's trying to go through recovery and stuff. He's got this monster trying to destroy him and pushes him to the point of suicide. You're already low for a long time with drugs because with drug use, you deplete your serotonin. You create chemical imbalance. Like to feel good, you create chemical imbalance in your body. Like a lot of people don't really think about that. Getting high, feeling good, that euphoria, that's because you take the dopamine, you take that hit, you throw off serotonin. I mean, you throw off every chemical, but you throw off the serotonin, you throw off your dopamine levels, you throw off both of those together. Like if you look up how all of this works together, you're crashing your brain's chemical balance. I mean, because again, you take that dopamine, bam. Well, what happens with it? And then the regulation of depression and everything else. You come crashing down afterwards. The drugs that and on top of that, man, like coming down is not fun anyway. The body, oh my God, your body turns against you. Your body does things like there's pains. Like I've broken bones. I've been through stuff, and there's nothing to compare it with withdrawal. Withdrawal is the worst thing ever. It's like something that's creeped into every pore of your body. Your body doesn't know how to feel. Feeling comes rushing back. It's malfunctioning. Like he said, you'll put yourself in a scalding shower to try to trick your sensory. Like, yeah, been there, been there, understand that. It's just anything to fight it off. And in the midst of that, you got this person that's trying to dig you a grave. She's absolutely grave digging. That's just crazy, man. Anyway, in the UK though, so we don't get herb. Well, herb, like I'm not including marijuana in that anyway. Like marijuana, if utilized, I believe, like again, I live in a state where it's not legal, but I believe that marijuana is a drug that should never been illegal. It shouldn't have been illegal. Like for painkiller, my father, I watched that man die in a horrible way, and I had to go out and I had to illegally pick up weed for him. I had to go out and illegally procure stuff. If I would have gotten caught with that, I could face jail time because pharmaceutical companies, the things that they give you don't work, but that did. Like you could eat on it. Like they would give him 13 pills that would equal like one joint. So yeah, I believe that has, it also has if used properly, I think it could have an impact with mental health, all types of uses. We just can't talk about that because, in Tennessee here, that's a discussion you're not supposed to have. But I absolutely believe that it has its place, it has its need, and in fact, the pharmaceutical industry. Like the stuff I got hooked on was a byproduct of the pharmaceutical industry. It was supposed to help me with my pain. Like I could have overdosed and died from that. I ain't gonna overdose on weed. You know what I'm gonna do? Like lay in a pile in the floor eating fucking Cheetos. I might overdose eating. I'm like, oh, again. You might be like, oh my god, yeah, I think he's gone crazy and he's murdered the pantry. That might happen, but like there ain't gonna be anything else. Uh, I mean, seriously, but the the pharmaceutical industry though, and you get hooked on their products trying to fight off the pain and the whatever you're going through. Computer broke down again. No, my computer's fine. I just play it over here for a minute. I just felt like talking over here for a minute. And this channel, it can monetize, I think, soon. I'm going to set up a stream, though, for either 1 or 2 o'clock. I'm not sure on the main channel. I'm really not sure yet. I don't want to do it at noon. What do you think? 1 o'clock? That's in 2 hours or 3 hours? What do you think? I like 3 hours personally. I got a document to go over this afternoon. 3 hours. Yeah, see, I like 3 hours from now. I think it's perfect. Move a high dose allows me to sleep more. Yeah, see, weed so much more difference. My sister was prescribed THC. I mean, that's yeah. I've never had the munchies. Oh my god, I have. I have. Oh Lord. Yeah, I used to get it like bad. Oh my god. I used to. Oh, I would get the get the munchies. Okay, I'd be like, oh my god, I'm gonna need everything. Yeah, I figured like with the UK, I think that would work. Like for the I think for the US it works too. So we'll have a live how's this sound? Live Judge Rex Amber Heard's lawyer Lawyer. Yep. Proof. They can't stand them. Proof. They can't stand them. Now, this is not a brand new document, okay? But this is a document most people don't know about, and it'll show you just how her team has been received over time. You know, so I'm going to set that for 2:00 this afternoon. I think that'll be a perfect time for it. Oops. But yeah, I mean, her team has been just leaned on by every judge out there. I think like every judge can't stand them. And I think it's funny. I love it, but it's kind of it's got to suck pushing one of the most disliked people ever. You know, like she's hated. Like she is absolutely hated and despised. Can you imagine representing her? Ugh. Anyway, like I said, check out our comic book, #1, if you want to. If you like this channel, you like the other channel, you like what we do. 3 things. Check out our comic book. Check out our merchandise. And we have a link for PayPal. You can represent all of those. It's fun stuff, but I'm going to set up something again in 3 hours. We will have main channel. We will talk about her legal team there. So it'll be in 3 hours, you know. No, I didn't change it a lot. No, they didn't block me. I'm good. I just was talking about the crazy people. Like I said, my main channel is fine. I just wanted to talk about the crazy people and how and I wanted to come over here and talk for a minute. You know, we have this, and this channel is pretty much ready to monetize because of that. So, you know, I'm going to turn that in for it too. But anyway, all right. Well, I'm going to get off here. I'm going to take a break, pull everything up, walk around for a minute, you know, wake my brain up, and then we're gonna. Wow, 2,000 of you were listening to the discussion on drug use and everything. Like I said, hopefully talking about that. I hope it helps people. You know, I hope it does. I hope it tells people that they're not alone in dealing with stuff, you know. But yeah, I'll catch you in 3 hours. All right. Thanks, folks.